Hey friends, it's Heart Bunny. If you take a look at my screen here to the left, you'll see that the next part of the main quest is currently, at the time I'm recording this, unavailable. When this video was being recorded, my progression in the game was being arbitrarily walled off until a certain amount of time passes. The data needed for the quest to function is already present in the game's files, I just can't start the quest for now because, reasons. For those of you who are as unfortunately MMORPG addicted and chronically online as myself, you may know of this as timegating. Note that this term is only used in regards to when there isn't already a behind-the-scenes reason for why you would have to wait, like the next part of the game hasn't been made yet, or your server is a few updates behind the main server, or like maintenance. No, everything is ready to go here, the game is just stopping me here just because. A lot of people hate this sort of thing, but let me tell you why it's actually a good thing that makes the game better in the long run. At its core, the time gate limits how far people can progress. I'm writing this video script on day 5, and the community at large is taking this on a day-by-day basis. Every day, another segment or episode of the main story unlocks. For the most part, in this game, your character's level is basically a measurement of just if you're caught up with the main story or not. Level grinding mostly isn't really a thing. If you 100% all of the side quests, you might be 1, maybe 2 level higher than someone who didn't, but even if you do 100% everything, the next day, if you're not caught up with the story, someone who is might leapfrog 3 or 4 levels ahead of you until you're caught back up. An important thing to note with regards to how all of this works is that this time gate limits the maximum of the entire server, not any individual player on a person-by-person basis. If someone saw this video and started on day 1 today, they could go all the way to day 5 if they really felt like it. And to tell you the truth, each episode of the story isn't especially long. Depends on if you want to hear the voice acting, I guess. There's a skip button, and if you're intent to use it, then it could take like 15 minutes just to blitz through everything per episode. Right, so in order for all of this to make sense, you gotta understand, MMORPG players have an extremely bad rap. This is a small community, and a lot of people think the community kind of sucks. Now, I was lucky enough to rope a bunch of friends into my guild for this game, but for a lot of people, there's always this moment of uncertainty where they worry about, like, toxic, sweaty DPS tryhards who will yell at them for not playing their role correctly or falling behind. There's a reason the stereotype of the healer who's lost patience with everyone is, true. Now, take one of those sweaty DPS tryhards. These guys are always in it for progression at any given time, and that's not inherently a bad thing. I'm actually friends with a few of these guys. These guys aren't just caught up with the story, they will pull every stop to get further ahead, to optimize their stats, their builds, their rotations. Inherently, this type of person will be further ahead than me. However, the time gate limits how much farther ahead they can get than me. If you take the average ordinary player and you take the sweaty DPS tryhard, the sweaty DPS tryhard will always be further, but they can never be tons further. They'll get more out of the same amount of tools, but they inherently cannot get past the time gate because no one can. They might be 1 or 2 levels ahead further, but that's the extent of how much further they can be. And that's okay. They're still going to do it anyway. You can tell just by looking in-game. Plenty of people are doing it, and they do it for the love of the growth, the progression. They think putting in all this effort to do a bit more damage is worth it. But what if you don't think it's worth it? Then that's completely fine. The way I see the time gate is that it's about making things more efficient. Like, the sweaty DPS tryhard puts in 100% of the effort and has 100% of the character growth, sure. But if you're a player who has a life, maybe you only do the main story, a few of the important side quests, and pick up a few dungeon runs. In that case, you'll still get, like, 70% of the growth for only 30% of the time and effort. Of course, these numbers may vary from game to game, and I don't have any stats for those numbers, but you get the idea. Playing the game this way is much more efficient. It respects your time more. And if you've got plenty of time to do all the distractions, go ahead. They're there for a reason. The developers made them, so you may as well play them. But if you don't have all that time, it's not like you're going to be super behind. It's just that some players are going to be a bit ahead. And there is a difference. Actually, what I think the best part about this is how compressed the community is. The sweaty DPS tryhards will be the first to run everything, sure, but they might only be 1 dungeon or difficulty ahead. And after a certain amount of time has passed, the expectations for players and dungeons will get lower, as more people on average get stronger. Eventually, you'll start to see more people further ahead in the progression on the dungeon queue instead of in pre-made parties. Everything will naturally become easier over time as more people get stronger. If you want that challenge, you can speed ahead, but if you don't, you can just wait until the fights come to the difficulty that's more your speed. Have you ever wanted someone to play an MMORPG with you, or heck, maybe you are that person, someone else is asking you to play with them? But before you can play with them, you need to do like 80 hours of main story and level up 900 times, and do some of the old sets of dungeons from the last expansion, and nobody's doing those anymore, so it's impossible to get a party going. And then once you get past all of that, then you get to play with your friends. This isn't about that. Thanks to this, I'm still getting the usual MMORPG experience of leveling up, getting new equipment, and running dungeons with my friends, but I can also have a life? Now, I'm not opposed to people who don't have lives playing MMORPGs. Those are the trailblazers who will cut the path ahead for the rest of us. Stepping aside from MMORPGs for a second here, how many times have you met a person who speedruns the entire content of an update in like 1 or 2 days, and then spends 1 or 2 months complaining about having nothing to do? It's not that the update doesn't have anything to do, it's just that you bulldozed all of it. You ever hear that saying, given the opportunity, players will optimize the fun out of a game? The full thing is longer than that, it's this whole thing, but like, it's really true. I mean, just look at Minecraft villager trade calls. Some gamers just need to be protected from themselves, and that's what the time gate is for. I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say, and I know that MMORPGs foster a community that is inherently opinionated. Just remember that, like, people are into these games for different reasons, so someone else might not have the same values as you. I mean, this game also runs on phones, and having a phone version of a game inherently means that the most involved players are the minority and will be overrun by, like, Candy Crush moms playing on their iPhone or something. But anyways, once you've made peace with knowing that, let me know what you think down below. Your friend, Heart Bunny.